For roadside recovery crews, every scene is a puzzle of its own, where load, weight, terrain, and the fragility of human life intertwine into a suffocating symphony. In those moments, when the cables tighten and metal groans under immense pressure, I realize I am dancing with death. And today, there were 3 times this dance etched itself into my memory. The scene before me was a pitch-black nightmare. A tractor hauling a container loaded with 40,000 pounds of scrap metal lay twisted across the road, tires shredded, diesel fuel leaking in scattered patches. 2 165,000 pounds rotators were deployed. Theoretical lifting capacity reached up to 150,000 pounds, but I knew those numbers meant very little. What we were facing wasn't just weight, but a constantly shifting center of gravity.
I need your truck when I'm done.
We threaded cables through the main load-bearing points, each line tightened with calculated tension running through my mind. Each cable carried around 60,000, 70,000 pounds. The pulling angle was kept under 45 degrees to prevent lateral force from causing a slide.
And it doesn't extend out.
When the lift began, the initial force was held at 20,000, 25,000 pounds, just enough to wake up the container without flipping it over the opposite side. Then came the sound of metal colliding, shifting. We switched to a counter-lean technique, intentionally tilting the container back by about 10, 15 degrees, using its own internal weight to rebalance. The 2 rotators worked inch by inch. Lift, hold, pause, adjust. No room for haste.
I don't know about flipping, that's you. I leave that for the big man.
Now I wait for my dad to catch up. Like that, because I was going to try to push it over. Not yet. Oh no, it's going back over big time.
Once the container stood fully upright, the load on each cable rose to nearly 40,000 pounds, but it was stable. The tractor was separated, and the heavily damaged, deformed container was lifted in a semi-suspended state to avoid transferring additional torsional stress to the already compromised frame. After this recovery, we understood something. Strength alone doesn't win. Sometimes you have to listen to lifeless things like metal shifting in the dark. Control the center of gravity, and you control life and death. The second scene hit me with a smell, one I will never forget. Tons of garbage spilled across the highway, covering dozens of feet. The garbage truck lay overturned, its body deformed, carrying an estimated 30,000, 35,000 pounds of load, not including the truck itself. We couldn't approach immediately. First, we had to straighten the cab to open a lane for the rotator to access the rear. Chains were wrapped around the front, and a wrecker applied 18,000, 22,000 pounds of pulling force using a slow-speed winch to avoid shock loading. Once a temporary lane was cleared, the rotator moved into position behind the truck body. Before the main pull, the team used wooden blocks to slightly lift the body, creating just enough space to thread protective chains into key load points. Chains were secured to the main structural point. This time, we didn't lift straight up, we used a roll and catch technique. Flip while controlling. Lifting force gradually increased from 25,000 pounds to nearly 45,000 pounds, distributed evenly across 2 anchor points. The front crane acted as a brake, ensuring the truck wouldn't snap over once it crossed its balance point. At the moment the body left the ground, I could hear the garbage shifting inside. Then came the part few notice. Excavators moved in to clean up. Bucket by bucket, the waste was reloaded into containers. Dirty, heavy work, but necessary to restore the road. And from those small details, the entire operation came together. A clear lesson. No success comes from one individual, it comes from people working in sync, at the right time, the right way. The final situation tightened my chest. In a quiet residential area, a heavy dump truck loaded with dirt had overturned, crushing a white sedan beneath it. Seeing the roof completely flattened under tens of thousands of pounds, I prayed no one was inside. Fortunately, the car was empty. The challenge here was tight space, and the requirement to avoid further damage to surrounding property. I had to position the crane precisely to prevent cables from cutting against sharp edges of the dump body. An excavator was brought in, its bucket lowered carefully to remove load piece by piece. Not fast, controlled. Each scoop weighed about 1,500 pounds, lifted slowly to avoid vibrations transferring into the frame. Layer by layer, the load was reduced. I could feel the pressure on the cable system easing, the structure less tense. The dump bed was shifted inward to create clearance for the residential roadway. At the same time, we pumped fuel out using a specialized system, transferring it into safe containers. This reduced total weight and eliminated risks of leakage, slipping, or fire. Lowering fluid levels also minimized sudden load shifts during lifting and rotation. Chains and cables were connected to the chassis, dump body, and critical load point. We gently lifted the dump truck, stabilizing it midair before applying about 50,000 pounds of lateral force to rotate it upright. The truck shook violently, swayed left and right, then settled upright on the road. But the sedan beneath it was completely crushed, twisted metal. It struck me then, life and death can be separated by something as small as where you choose to park. We secured the vehicle, separated the cab and bed, and cleared the scene, restoring peace to the quiet street. In this line of work, victory isn't measured in pounds lifted, but in what is saved. That car was destroyed, but no lives were lost. And that is the only victory that truly matters. Every time I see a scene with no casualties, I silently thank whatever watches over drivers, and those of us who do this work. 3 scenes, moments so tense that a shift of just 1 inch could have turned everything into disaster. But inch by inch we pulled balance back, like gripping something that was slipping away. And when we left, I understood a simple, unforgiving truth. In this job, there are no loud victories, only quiet moments where the line of safety is held. Just before it disappears,